go. Senator Bernie Sanders now topping a new poll in the race for 2020. Sanders leads Joe Biden by 12 percentage points in New Hampshire. It puts South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg in the top tier. Buttigieg is at 15%, followed by Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris. Karl Rove, former White House Deputy Chief of Staff, Fox News contributor. How you doing, sir? Good morning to you in Austin, Texas there. You see a story shaping up in this yet?
Well, I see two stories. The story that you just talked about. Here's a big new poll showing Sanders in the lead, but let's be a little careful. We had a poll 10 days ago on the 8th of April from St. Anselm's University, and then we had the one on the 18th from the University of New Hampshire. The earlier poll had Biden in the lead at 23, and Sanders in second place, Bernie Sanders in second place at 16, Buttigieg at 11. But, you know, these numbers are all over the board. Do we really think that Joe Biden has lost 20% of his support in 10 days? Do we really think that Bernie Sanders has doubled his support in 10 days? Do we really think that Buttigieg has had about a 40% increase in his support, nearly a 35, 36% increase in his support in one week, or 10 days? Elizabeth Warren, do we think she's lost nearly half her support in 10 days? So got to be a little careful with these polls. They're going to bounce around a lot.
Yeah, they are.
We do expect Bernie to do well in the state. Remember, he's from next door. If I looked at this, I'd say two things. Buttigieg looks like he's a player in New Hampshire, and Elizabeth Warren is not the player we thought she would be. She's from next door as well, Massachusetts. She's got a bigger media market reach. Boston covers most of the state of New Hampshire. Vermont doesn't really have a lot of, it's a neighbor, but it doesn't have a lot of media coverage inside the state of New Hampshire. So I'd take away from this, Buttigieg is playing in the top tier. We don't know who's in first, but Bernie's likely to have the advantage over Biden because it's his neighborhood. But the interesting story to me is that Elizabeth Warren, just off of a re-election campaign in Massachusetts, not doing too well in either poll.
Bernie won that primary in 2016.
Right.
Here, Buttigieg seems to be driving this theme about Sanders supporters and Trump supporters. Last night, watch.
But when you think about the number of voters, certainly where I come from, who basically narrowed down their choices in the last election, either to Bernie Sanders or to Donald Trump, it tells you that some of the most important things on voters' minds aren't just, are you close to me on a left-right political spectrum, but are you really going to profoundly change the system that we're living in?
So that is his theme for the moment. What do you make of that, Karl?
Well, a smart move. Remember, roughly one out of every eight Bernie Sanders supporters voted for Donald Trump in the fall, which is a big number because they were Democrats, participated in the Democratic primary. And what he's tried to do there is to basically say, I'm the guy who's going to calm the system. We have the disruptors. We have a right-wing populist and a left-wing populist. Both of them share something in common, that the relationship between the ordinary American and their government needs to be revisited and reoriented. And I'm the guy who's going to step in and calm it. I think it is the way to be the anti-Bernie Sanders without being anti-Bernie Sanders.
All right, speaking of Bernie, here we go. Free tuition for everybody from last night. Watch the senator.
I raised this issue, you remember, 4 years ago, Chris. And with everybody 4 years ago, oh, Bernie is a little bit crazy, talking about making public colleges and universities tuition free. Ain't such a crazy idea today. It's an idea that's taking hold all across this country.
Is it?
You know, I don't think so, because first of all, it is so, free health care, free college, free income, free guaranteed job. I mean, the idea that we're going to take money out of the pockets of people who never went to college or didn't graduate from college, and in order to pay for people who want to go to college, and we're going to do so only at public universities, so that if you go to a private school, particularly one that might, say, have a religious heritage to it, you don't get this kind of deal. I just think there's too many complications on this thing.
You get a car. I get a car, right?
Yeah,
it's
everybody gets a car.
Last point here. I don't know what's going on with Joe Biden. I don't know if he announces tomorrow or not. Maybe there's a delay. Maybe there's a reason for that delay. What do you think the calculation is on behalf of House Democrats? You got the readout from the 90-minute conference call last night. What do you think, Karl?
Well, look, Nancy Pelosi is right. It doesn't do the Democrats much good to put the emphasis on impeachment. The problem is she's no longer in charge of that caucus. If you have Maxine Waters and Jerry Nadler and Adam Schiff, chairman of 3 important committees, and maybe Clyburn, chairman of a 4th committee, all intent upon investigating. What do we think is going to be the message for the Democrats? Is it going to be investigate, or is it going to be we're doing things that matter to ordinary Americans in their communities, their lives, their jobs, and their families? You know, it is clearly going to be dominated by the Jerry Nadler and Maxine Waters and Adam Schiff.
She's going to have to hold back the horses.
Oh, yeah. And it's not going to go anywhere because I don't think there's I don't think that you could deliver all the Democrats in the House, let alone the Republicans, in order to vote for impeachment.
Because a lot of these Democrats come from Trump districts. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, 32 of them in Trump districts, carried by Trump, represented by Republican congressmen, now represented by a Democrat. Are they going to be enthusiastic about going out on the limb? I don't think so.
There's a Wall Street Journal piece, I think, in that answer. Thank you, Karl.
There we go.
Talk to you real soon.
Thank you, sir.